All right, good morning. So this is the cook number two post wrap up kind of conversation. My lessons learned, opportunity for me to grow and to share with you guys the mistakes and some of the wins that I had during my last cook. So I got a couple notes here. So first and foremost, which is so important, is fire management. Coming from a pellet cooker where it's just set it and forget it, it is what it is. There's a lot to learn about operating a stick burner pit, and I think every cook that I have, there's something new that I learn. Um, so one thing that I took away from the second cook is the need for a bigger coal bed. So normally I'd start with a layer of lump coal, unlit, add another chimney full of lit coal um, on top of that, let that get going, and then I put my first split on. And then what I was kind of seeing that was happening was that probably about the second or third split, a lot of the coal bed just kind of falls apart. And because in my cooker it's not a giant cooker as you guys saw, I'm only putting one medium sized split on at a time, and that's not enough to actually keep your coal bed lit. So I feel like my next cook, I'm actually going to start with a really robust, really big fire, let that burn down to a really thick coal bed, and then add my splits. And then after that, once the temperature calms down, add my proteins. Um, Split size matters. So, depending on where you're sourcing your splits from, if you're lucky enough to have trees on your property and you can chop them down or split them to the way that you want, that's awesome. You're in a great position there. But for me, I'll either buy them from wood purveyors locally, or actually go to like a Cisco to go and buy the bag of oak. And a pit this size, the size of the split matters. Obviously, you throw on a large log, not just the temperature swing you have to worry about, but what I found is that it takes a lot of energy to actually ignite those logs. And for me, on this pit, the bigger the log, it's almost like the more incomplete burn. And I don't know if that's related to the coal bed or what, but if I put on a big size split, I'm going to be fighting this thing just to keep that split from smoldering and putting out that accurate smoke. So, it's for me, the learning was I'm starting to understand what size split works best in this unit. And I think that's something, if this is something you're going to do and move into a stick burner, is you're going to do that as well. You're going to get your pit, you're going to fire it up. You may put a split on there and see how it ignites, see how it behaves. Then I think you start to get an idea of where and how your pit likes to run. And that's really what this series is all about. It's not about, trying to show that I'm a master pit, a pit master rather, or to even show how good the food is. This really is just about my journey from pellet to stick burner, and again, hopefully there's some things along the way I can help you guys with. Secondly, for me, I don't know if you can see in frame, but open the vents. So this pit needs a lot of oxygen. I don't know why, but it does. In fact, there's two small vents on the bottom of the firebox, which I showed in another video. And what I found is that the pit actually works best if I cock this door open and leave the vents open. What I was seeing was that when I had a split or even two small splits on the fire and I closed the firebox door, even with the vents open, they were smoldering. You'd have maybe 5 or 10 minutes of good smoke, and then all of a sudden it kind of leaned toward the not so good smoke. And the only way that I was really able to regulate both temperature and smoke was to put something here or leave this door slightly ajar, which kept it burning clean and at the smoke level that I wanted. So maybe if I were redesigning this, I'd add a larger opening, or just leave the door open, right? So the other major thing I wanted to talk about was my tuning plates. So I had J&J build tuning plates and install them for me. The first cook I did, it was kind of like an oven. It cooked really, really quick without burning the protein, um, and very moist, but there was very little smoke. And the reason why I made a change was I thought that was essentially because the tuning plates created like a fake reverse flow, which didn't necessarily work well because the collector's on the same side of the direction of the airflow. So what I deduced was that essentially the majority of the smoke was going under the plates, heating the plates, giving that radiant energy, and then moving right out the collector. Whereas the food was juicy, it had a great flavor because of the rub, but I didn't get the smoke ring and I didn't get the smoke flavor that I was looking for. And I said it must be the plates. So what I do this cook? So this cook, I have four tuning plates installed. I took 3 out. I left 1 right next to the baffle built into the bottom of the grill. And that was a failure. And the reason for that is because all it did was just move my hot spot down to the middle of the pit, which is where I normally put the protein. So I think the best move here is actually to remove the tuning plate and take the hit of the 3 or 4 inch no-no zone in the pit versus moving that hot spot, and then now there's a more unusable space in the area where I like to use it the most. And so the idea of the tuning plates for me is a wash. If you want to run it like an oven and you're more concerned with even cooks and quick cook times, tuning plates are for you. It's a good choice. If that's what you're going for, I recommend it. If you're going for a classic offset flavor and smoke profile, I'm just going to remove them because, again, based on where my baffle is, I have about a 3 or 4 inch hot zone. And then the rest of the cooking chambers is available to me to use, which is more real estate technically than what I would have with using the tuning plates. So that's my lesson learned. Some people love them, some people hate them. I'm pretty indifferent. I think there's a reason, there's a place for them. But in a classic offset, that smoke profile, for me, just not a win. This last piece is probably going to be the most controversial, especially being in Texas. For me, the fuel. Listen, I know oak is cheap, and this is my second cook with oak, and I'll tell you, I don't really like it. I don't like how it smells, and I know it's gonna be like superficial, right? I don't like the smell of oak, the fragrance off of the wood. Just not my preference. And even the smoke that's on the meat, while it is super mild, as a lot of people say, oak is a mild, nutty wood. I get that. But for me, especially coming from California, where hickory was used mostly in barbecue joints there, I prefer not only the smell and essence of hickory wood, but I enjoy that on my barbecue. Now, do I enjoy excessive hickory smoke on my barbecue? No, but I'm not necessarily in love with oak either. So I gotta figure out where that choice of fuel is gonna be. If you're buying wood from a wood purveyor, oak is gonna be cheap because oak is everywhere in Texas. I think I end up paying about $5 or $6 more per bag or per bundle for hickory. And I think for my taste and my desire, I think that $5 or $6 may be worth it. Flies. I also really love mesquite, especially on my brisket. I think mesquite is a underappreciated, component or piece of wood because it is very excessive in the flavor, and you got to know how to temper it. But if you can master it, I think it puts out amazing beef. So that's it. So these are my lessons learned. Overall, I think it was a successful cook. I took some videos of the food. It came out great. Chicken had a great flavor. Sausage was good. But again, I think there's some things I'm going to fine tune. Again, kind of pun intended. Tuning plates out of there. Bigger coal bed. And I think that's going to actually help manage smoke and heat a lot better than sort of not wanting to go too big, too fast, letting it burn down, and then just kind of fighting to keep that temp, fighting to keep the good smoke. And I don't think this is anything new. I think this is something that if you watch Jeremy Yoder, you watch a lot of these other guys, they talk about good fire management. And it all kind of starts with a really robust fire, build that coal bed, and then that'll power you through, especially on my pit, because I'm not putting on 2 or 3 splits at a time. I'm putting on one medium-sized split, and that's just not enough to keep your coal bed going. So if you are in the same boat I am with a small to medium-sized pit and you're trying to figure it out, maybe try more coals or a bigger fire initially to get the coal bed built, and then transition into cooking after your temps are settled and you got the right temper of smoke rolling out. So that's all I have. I'm just glad to share this journey. I love using this pit. It is quite different than a pellet for sure, and I'm gonna put a video, obviously talking about the differences between doing really good smoked barbecue on a pellet grill versus doing a really great tasting barbecue on a stick burner. So thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Welcome to my channel. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.